Hey, what's going on, you guys? I have a very interesting video today. I know you know what these guns are, or I'm sure you do. Glock 17 and a Beretta 92. This is an FS model. These two pistols have seen more service in police, law enforcement, military. I mean, these are very renowned pistols. They kind of, in the past 30 years, you could argue they've kind of ruled the world. And I know other guns have come out today, and some of them have been retired, and those guns have kind of taken their place. But these are very, very nice handguns, and many would argue they're kind of the epitome of, you know, what a handgun can be. I know Glock, their little slogan, perfection, and I wouldn't deny that. I mean, it's a very, very good gun for what it is. And Beretta is just a very refined, a nice gun, and it just shoots so smooth. And you guys, I want to talk about the pros and the cons of these two guns because I can't say, well, this is my favorite or this is my favorite. I can and I could make that determination, and I'll share that with you later. But I will say there's some that this one's, some applications that the Glock's better and the Beretta is good, but not quite as good, and vice versa. So I'm not going to get too much into the history on this video. I just want to talk about my thoughts and experience from shooting these guns. This is my third Glock 17 that I own, and this is my second Beretta 92 type pistol that I've owned. And I just want to share that with you guys, tell you a little bit about my experience. We'll start with Glock. So I've owned Glock. I've had a Glock 17 for the past 8 years at least. I started with a Gen 3 with the OEM, no, the olive lower. They're kind of rare now, and then I traded that for an AK-47 with a buddy, and don't regret it, because Glock 17s are common. It's not a rare collectible. I can find another, and I sure did. Got a Glock 17 Gen 2. I went back a little bit, a few years later from a family member. And then right around the beginning of COVID, the price on these things just shot up to like 650 bucks for one of these type of pistols. So I ended up selling it to fund another project. And then here in the past couple months, the price on these have kind of come back. They've stabilized, and well, I picked up another. And this is the Gen 4, Glock 17 Gen 4. Now the Glock 17 was Gaston Glock's original design in 1980. Now, the world's first polymer pistol was the VP70 in 1970, the People's Pistol, and I've done a video on that. But the Glock 17, of course, Gaston Glock, he specialized in Tupperware, knives, and, hardened polymers. And then he pretty much from the ground up designed this pistol. And this being a Gen 4 is the fourth generation thereof, but you get the point. Now, Glock 17, this is a loaded gun, you guys. I have 17 rounds. That's why it's a Glock 17, 9mm Parabellum. Now, I could have an 18 if I had it in the chamber, but the chamber's empty. And that 18th round is right here on my desk because I've unloaded it prior to this video, or I should say unchambered it, meaning I could dry fire the trigger and it's not going to go bang. And I needed to do that so I can show you guys the simplicity of this design. When the trigger is pulled, dry fired, this little piece right here, you squeeze it and you pull down and the top comes off. There's your polymer lower with the steel that's integrated into the frame. I have polished mine up. You can polish up little parts here and it makes the trigger smoother. The Gen 4 has a captivated recoil spring, a dual spring. Your barrel actually would just come right out. Uh, and then on the Gen 4, they actually have a pin that comes all the way, a steel pin that comes all the way through the front polymer side. So that makes that sight. There's that dot in the bucket. That's the famous Glock sight. It's boxy, it's robust. When you put this barrel in there, all your weight, you guys, is right there in the barrel and the frame. There's all your weight. Your little recoil spring holds it all in there. Simple. Striker fire. There's your striker. You guys, there's just nothing to go wrong here. Unlike the Beretta, the Glock does not have a safety. Again, the safety, some people argue it's a safety, but it's really just a trigger. There's a little flap of plastic right there, and you can see when I push it, that actually allows the trigger to have clearance. So you have to put your finger in the middle of the trigger, but that's what they call a safety. That's how they get around the system. But it's my belief, you guys, that a pistol does not need a safety. The safety should be the way you manipulate the gun. Safeties get people killed, you guys. Safeties, people trust in a safety when they shouldn't. When you need to grab a pistol, you want to grab that pistol, point and aim and execute. With Glock, they make many cases, holsters that have trigger guards. And if you're being attacked, you're so focused on that attack in that situation, you don't have time. You're reaching for something and you're pulling and you just want to shoot. And that's where Glock shines. This is the kind of pistol that when your life's on the line and you're reaching for it and you don't have time to think and you're nervous, this will perform for you and it'll save your bacon. It'll save your butt. Like this gun right here, I can't think of a better gun in terms of just ease of use, rugged, reliability, accurate. Let me show you. I've owned this gun 2 weeks now. Here's the first. This is within the first 20 rounds. This is probably the shot 6 through 10 right here. Shot 6 through 10. That's 25 yards, you guys. If I moved into 5 yards, they'd all be in the same hole. I mean, I'm shooting for reliability. I mean, accuracy. Reliability is already there. I'm shooting at 25 yards to show you guys the true accuracy of the pistol. I'm backing it up to further range. Now let me go ahead and show you. I think I showed you the magazines already. They're steel reinforced polymer mags, very high quality. Glock mags are awesome. They just don't have issues. You know, on your last shot, you do have a hold open, then you'd slap a new mag in there and you'd release it, and then it, you know, there you go again. Now, a Glock case, they just have a basic box, and inside your box, you get, typically they come with 2 or 3 mags, depending. And you know, you guys, this is a pretty nice box. I mean, it's a little plastic hard case. I like it. I'm happy they do that. Very reliable, you guys. You never have Glocks jam. And when they do jam, it's typically an ammunition issue or it's an issue of limp wristing. That's when you're holding it so loose that the gun doesn't really have your palm to work on when it's in the process of recoil, when the slide's coming back. And limp wristing, it happens more on like the 45 caliber Glocks, like a 21 or a 41 or etc. It's hard to get it to do it on a 17. This was the original design. So that's my thought on a Glock, you guys. Very reliable gun. When you don't have time to think, when your life's on the line, Glock is your best friend. Now, the Beretta. I'd say it was about 5 years ago. I was at a pawn shop in Dallas, and I picked up a 92S. It had the Italian hill release down here. The sights, unlike this one, this has those 3-dot sights. I'm sure you can see there. I will show you guys. Somebody's going to say clear it. And you're right. The gun's clear. I don't have any in this one. This one's been in my safe. We're already getting into kind of how I use this gun. You notice the Glock's loaded and hot. Have an everyday carry holster here. The Beretta, I'm going to show you guys. I have a holster. I'm actually wearing it. I have an actual shoulder holster here for the Beretta 92. And I have the magazine pouches on the other side. And this jacket is excellent concealment. And I can have that pistol. If I stand up here, you'll see the design. it actually goes to the belt. And that there is made for the 92. And that's a lot of firepower to have concealed. So this is my shoulder rig. Shoulder holsters are very comfortable when you're driving too, and you can draw. And I'll tell you, this Beretta, when it comes to long range shooting, the sights on this one are just a little better than the stock Glock sights. But let me show you something, you guys. We're talking about accuracy. I'm going to skip ahead. Same day I was shooting the Glock, I had the Beretta out there, and this is the same ammunition, the same range. Now, if I show, this is probably the better of the two there. And if we compare that to the Glock, you guys, we're just, it's apples and oranges. It's both of these guns are capable of probably 2-inch groups at 25 yards with the Winchester white box that I was shooting. Now, Beretta, you know, when you're holding both of these guns, Beretta, this here is, like I said, it's my second Beretta to own, and it's an Italian, made in Italy, Pietro Beretta. You know, it's imported. Has all the Italian proof marks. You don't get that on the Beretta USA. The Italian one, you can see that thick chrome line barrel. I did put a stainless steel guide rod in it. That's one of the only modifications that I did because it's $10 on eBay, and I didn't want a plastic guide rod in it. I had no reason to change other than just personal preference, but there are a few parts that are plastic on a newer Beretta, like your hammer spring cap, your safety, and the left side of the decocker. That's a decocker and a safety, and that piece right there is plastic. Now the trigger, it's steel, it just has a polymer coating, and this might be the same, I'm really not sure, but I think this piece is plastic. Well, polymer, let me say that. Plastic. Now it's really good plastic, and that's not something that I'll probably ever change unless I go to the G conversion kit where that becomes a decocker only. And if I was going to carry this every day, that's what I would do. But you know, you sweat on a carry gun, you guys, and Glock is just kind of hard to beat. And it's a little bit slimmer. You know, the Beretta has a little bit more girth, and the grip and just some of the stuff on it. Glock is just kind of, it's kind of like a little block. It's it's easier to carry, and like I said, the accuracies on both of these guns are you know, they're on par with each other. I think the Beretta 92 is a little bit, when you're shooting it, you have a little bit more confidence in your accuracy. The sights are a little better. It has a kind of a glass on ball bearings. Like if I let this mag go, the mags are metal. I'll say that. You get metal mags. And I really like the fact that the plastic floor plates have metal inserts, so it's metal on metal. They're very good quality mags, these Pietro Beretta mags. Now these are 15 plus 1. So it's not quite as good as Glock, but 16 or 18 shots, that's if you had one in the pipe. You know, that's so close. I'm not, and if you get Met Gear makes some mags, and I'm pretty sure you could get, I think they make a mag that's, I know they make a 17 rounder, they might make an 18. Of course, Glock has 33 round sticks. You know, I'm just talking about the standard mag though. I'm pretty sure you can get 18 plus 1 with the Beretta, I think, or it's 17 plus 1. I can't remember, but you know, that's up there. That's lots of firepower. So they're both on par with each other with that. It's just a magazine choice. So anyways, the thing about Beretta, you just get a feeling of quality. It's an aluminum slide, an aluminum frame with a steel slide and a steel barrel. To disassemble the Beretta, well, let me just show you. I'm hammer back right now. That's the decocker right there. If I come down, that drops the hammer, releases the trigger. and you actually can decock it on a live round. Then you can carry it like that, hammer down, safety on. The entire trigger is completely dead once that's in the down position. As you see that little block right there that's coming up, there's all kinds of internal hammer block safeties on the Beretta 92FS. These are safe guns. Now, when you flip that off, the safety decocker is one unit. It's on the upper slide there. So when you're pulling this back, you want to avoid like what I just did. I just put the safety on with cocking it, and it's decocking itself when the slide comes back to its home position. So if you accidentally set that off when you're working the slide, you've just decocked your gun. But have no fear, because if you push it off, it's not just single action. Check that chamber. See if I decock it. It's double action too. So, it's just if I was going to carry this, I'd probably get the G conversion and make it decocker only. But this is a great pistol, you guys. It just has a feeling of quality. I like the fact that you can look down the barrel. You can see the barrel on top. There's lots of open space for ejection. The military really liked that when this gun was in its trials for the U.S. military pistol in the time that it served. They're robust. I mean, they're solid. That aluminum frame, it's thick. I will say, when you're holding a Beretta 92, that is just a really nice feeling grip. It is much better than Glock, the grip. But my usage of this, where this would become more of a favorite for me, would be target shooting, going out to the range, uh, you know, popping steel plates. The Beretta just feels nice. The Glock has that spongy trigger that I like, but it's you're shooting a Glock. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's just Glock is such a kind of a staple of just reliability and accuracy, and you just know it's going to work. The trigger, it just feels kind of spongy, and the Beretta has a little bit longer take up in some areas, but it's crisp, and it's just kind of, you can replace the hammer spring from like a 20-pound spring down to a 13 and get a really nice trigger. If you're shooting like brass American ammunition, you'll be fine. Beretta just has a little bit higher quality feel to it. And generally it's around $100 more in price when you buy it. Now Beretta, when you pick up a Beretta, they do come with a nice box, and this one here had little cleaning attachments, little bristles, and a couple mags. You know, I have other magazines for the Beretta. Uh, you can get aftermarket mags of all types. This is an all steel mag. They make good magazines for Beretta. Both of these guns, you're going to have no problem finding surplus mags. But yeah, so the Glock, I would say, if you're on the spot, you can't think, you just need something reliable, accurate. I have to say, Glock for me, for personal protection, is kind of the winner here. But for a nice quality gun that would maybe sit on the nightstand, or for personal protection, I suppose, if you got the G conversion, uh, Beretta would be that gun too. I mean, either one of these guns would fit that role, but I think the Glock, I just have more trust in it. I can't mess it up with the Glock. With the Beretta, who knows? I could deploy that safety on accident. The gun's a little harder to carry. It's a little bigger, size-wise. It's just not as comfortable. I have to have this whole, shoulder rig really to make this work right. Uh, it just doesn't meet the same demand as the Glock does for that. This is more of a nice gun to take out to the range and really enjoy. And for that purpose, it beats the Glock. But that's just my thoughts, you guys. These are both excellent weapons. Yeah, if I had either one of them, I would be very happy. But I do have a little bit, uh, a feeling like a little bit more pride of ownership with the Beretta here. Just a little bit higher quality gun in its fit and finish. Even the new ones with the plastic parts that they're putting on them, They're still very refined. I don't think that plastic is ever going to break. I just don't see how it could. I'm not going to replace any of it. It's only $13 for an aluminum cap down there. And that little cap seats the hammer spring. It's never going to break. There's a lanyard loop there. You know, I'm okay with it. It reduces weight. Speaking of weight, the Beretta is a little heavier than the Glock, so something to keep in mind as well. Glocks are just hard to beat with weight. But you guys, that's my thoughts. These are both excellent guns. Yeah, that's the loser's view right there. 9mm pistols, the two best. So that's where I'm going to end the review on these two pistols as far as which one wins. You know, you be the judge. You can't go wrong. Those are my thoughts. Now, the Christian part of the review, you guys, I have a reading today from the book of 1 Peter. And please stick around. This is a good message. I promise this will benefit all that hear it. This is in chapter 3 in the book of 1 Peter in verse 8. To sum up, all of you be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing. For the one who desires life, to love and see good days, must keep his tongue from evil, and his lips from speaking deceit. He must turn away from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are for the eyes of the Lord are towards the righteous, and his ear attends to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. Who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good? But even if you should suffer for the sake of righteousness, you are blessed. And do not fear the intimidation, and do not be troubled, but sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts, always being ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you to give an account for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and reverence, and keep a good conscience, so that in the things which you are slandered, those who revile your good behavior in Christ will be put to shame. For it is better, if God should will it so, that you suffer for doing what is right rather than for doing what is wrong. For Christ died for the sins, once and for all, the just and the unjust, so that he might bring us to God, having been put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit. And that's where I'm going to end right there. There's so much that could be said in this passage. The one thing I want to highlight, when he says not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. You guys, that really convicts me. How many times do you get insulted and your first thought is to insult back? But instead of returning insult for insult, that's just something that really stood out to me. For we were called for the purpose that we'll inherit a blessing. Just living in this way, more harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, trying to set the example. Even when we're disrespected, reviled or cursed, we prove zealous for doing that which is good, showing that love and that character of Christ. That's just a powerful passage, and I know somebody needed to hear that today. You guys, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're considering a 9mm pistol, you cannot go wrong. Both of these guns will serve you for life and probably your kid's life too. I mean, they don't break. These are service pistols. They're both accurate. They're outstanding guns. So just let me know if you have any questions. And thank you so much for watching. You guys have a blessed evening.